uh, Virgo, a group of people stopped, not individually, not in the separate and unconnected form of different people having different reactions at different times to the same image without the reactions connecting to each other in the shared and simultaneous form of a group responding together to something they encountered together in the specific and collective form of people who were in the same space at the same moment when the image was shown or found or passed around in the way images sometimes travel between people who know each other and share things, and who stopped collectively in the specific and simultaneous form of a group whose attention was arrested by the same thing at the same moment. That thing was a picture of you, Virgo, and what happened after the stopping in the specific and particular form of what this group of people did with what the stopping produced in their interior is what this reading is about, and what is arriving for you within the next 72 hours as the direct result of what those people said. After the stopping, this reading has 4 layers. Stay for every single one, because the 4th layer contains what is arriving for you personally as the consequence of what a group of people said about a picture of you to the specific person who showed it to them or whose phone it was found on. In the natural and ordinary form of images that exist in someone's life and that the people around them sometimes encounter, Virgo, my beautiful Virgo, people are talking about you right now in the rooms you are not in. And what they are saying is significant. Welcome, and stay with every word. The first layer, and this one is about the picture and what it captured in the specific and stopping producing form of what the group encountered when the image was in front of them and their collective attention arrested before any of them had decided to be arrested by it. I feel something in your energy that I want to name very specifically, because the precise naming is what makes this reading land in the specific and recognized form that the Virgo reading it deserves. Whew. You have a complicated relationship with images of yourself in the specific and particular form of someone who sees themselves differently from how they appear, to the people who encounter their image in the pictures that exist of them, not differently in the vanity form of someone who thinks they look better than the pictures suggest, and who is disappointed when the pictures do not confirm the better form they believe themselves to be in, differently in the other form, in the specific and underestimating form of someone who looks at their own image and sees something more ordinary than what the people encountering the image from outside are encountering in the specific and stopping form of something that arrested a group's collective attention before any of them decided to be arrested. The picture captured something that you do not see when you look at yourself. In the images that exist of you, from the internal and familiar position of someone who has been looking at themselves for long enough that the looking has become ordinary, in the specific and habituating form of something seen so often that its qualities become invisible to the person doing the seeing. From inside the familiarity that the repeated seeing produces what the group saw that you do not see when you look was the specific and particular quality of a presence that photographs in the specific way that stops people before they have decided to stop. In the involuntary and arrested form of an attention that found something it was not looking for, and that could not continue past what it found without the stopping first. Spirit is showing me what they said after the stopping, and I want to deliver it in the specific and complete form of what was actually expressed by the group who encountered your image and whose encountering produced the specific and arriving consequence that this reading is describing for the Virgo who is about to know within 72 hours what was said about them in the room they were not in by the people who saw what they see every day without the habituation that makes the extraordinary ordinary to the person living inside it. The second layer, stay with me, because this layer is where the very of the title gets filled in with this specific word that the group used after the stopping. They said, in the collective and enthusiastic form of a group responding together to something that arrested them simultaneously, that you are striking, not beautiful in the conventional form that the word beautiful is sometimes used in as the generic and expected compliment that people reach for when they want to say something positive about someone's appearance without the more specific and accurate word that describes what they actually encountered when the stopping happened. Striking in the specific and particular form of something that strikes, in the arriving and impacting form of something that reaches the person encountering it before they have had the chance to prepare for the reaching in the specific and involuntary way of something that arrives before the defense is up, and that produces in the body the specific response of something that has struck rather than simply pleased or impressed or been found attractive. You struck them in the simultaneous and collective form of a group whose attention was arrested together by the specific quality of your image that photographs in the striking form rather than the simply pleasant form that most images take when the person in the image does not have the specific quality that yours has in the striking and arresting way that produced the collective stopping, and the word that followed after the stopping produced the words. They said something else too. In the specific and significant form of something said in the second wave, after the first wave of striking had been expressed and the group had moved from the first response of the stopping into the second and more considered form of people who have had a moment to process what they encountered before expressing the second layer of what the encountering produced. They said, "You look real." In the specific and rare form of something that is not performing for the image, but that is simply present in the full and unguarded form of someone who is in a moment rather than in the awareness of being captured in a moment, and who's being in the moment rather than in the awareness of the capturing, is what produced the real quality that the group named as the second layer of what they expressed after the striking of the first layer had been named striking and real in the simultaneous and collective form of what a group said about your image to the person whose image it was, found on or shown on or passed around in the group that encountered it and stopped and said what they said. The third layer, stay with me, because this layer is about what happened to your person when the group said what they said in the specific and interior form of someone receiving from the people around them a specific and collective confirmation of what they already felt but had not yet said in the direct and express form of someone who has been carrying a private interior response to you that the group just confirmed publicly in front of them. Woof. Your person already knew in the interior and private form of someone who had already had their own version of the stopping before the group had theirs, in the personal and pre-group form of an encounter with your image or with you directly. That produced in them the same specific and involuntary response that the group produced together when the image was in front of them, but they had not said it, in the direct and expressed form of someone who names what their interior is producing in the outward and available way of something said, rather than held in the interior and private form of something felt but not expressed. The group saying produced something in your person in the specific and unlocking form of a confirmation arriving from the outside for something that was being held on the inside in the private and unexpressed form of something that had not yet found the permission to be expressed before the group's collective confirmation provided the permission in the specific and unlocking way of an external confirmation that gives the internal thing the permission it was waiting for to move from interior to express, watch for this today, something in how your person is around you or in contact with you. That has a different quality from the usual quality, in the slightly more form of something that has been unlocked by the group's confirmation, and that is now moving toward the expressed form of what has been interior for the full period before the unlocking. Watch for this tomorrow. The first concrete movement toward expressing what the group confirmed and what your person has been holding privately in the arriving and tangible form of something said or done or initiated that reflects the unlocked state of someone whose interior thing has been given permission to become exterior within 72 hours. And by the end of the 72 hours, something has been expressed to you in the full and arrived form of what has been interior since before the group saw your image and said what they said and unlocked the permission for what your person was holding to become the expressed thing that reaches you within 72 hours of right now. Now, the address to something, I feel in the energy of many Virgos reading this, and that deserves direct acknowledgement. Oh, some of you are uncomfortable with the idea of being discussed by a group of people you do not know in the specific and privacy feeling form of someone who does not love the idea of their image being passed around and commented on by people who are strangers to them, even in the positive and admiring form that this reading is describing as what the group expressed after the stopping. That discomfort is valid in the specific and proportionate form of someone who values their privacy and who is aware that being discussed, even positively, is a form of exposure that was not consented to by the person being discussed. What I want to offer to that discomfort is this: what the group said is not the significant thing in the reading. What the group said produced is the significant thing in the unlocking form of something that was interior and that now has permission to become exterior. For the specific Virgo, this reading found the fourth layer, the most personal and the most important. I feel a question forming in you. As the fourth layer arrives, the question is not about the group or what they said or whether their saying is accurate. The deeper question is this: why don't I see what they saw? In the specific and honest form of a Virgo asking themselves why the image they encounter when they look at themselves does not produce in them the stopping that it produced in a group of people who saw it for the first time without the habituation. That makes the extraordinary ordinary to the person living inside it. I want to answer that directly. You cannot see what they saw because you are inside it. In the specific and important distinction between the person who lives inside something and the person who encounters it from outside for the first time without the familiarity that the living inside produces in the person it belongs to, the extraordinary becomes ordinary to the person living inside it. This is not a flaw. It is the specific and universal form of what living inside something does to the perception of the person inside it over time. But the group who encountered your image without the living inside, without the habituation, without the familiarity, that makes the extraordinary ordinary. Saw what is actually there in the unhabituated and fresh form of a first encounter that sees what the person inside has stopped being able to see because the seeing has become too familiar to produce the striking response that the group produced in the collective and arrested form of people encountering something for the first time. Trust the group seeing over your own. In this specific and particular case, because their seeing is not distorted by familiarity, and yours in this specific and particular case is, I want to give you something before this closes. In the permission form that the I do not see what they saw Virgo, reading this specifically needs permission to believe what a group of people who have no reason to misrepresent what they encountered said about your image in the collective and enthusiastic form of people who were struck before they decided to be struck. Permission to let their seeing update your own in the specific and necessary form of someone whose internal image of themselves has not kept pace with what is actually visible to the people encountering them from outside the familiarity. That prevents the inside person from seeing what is there. Let the group seeing land in the full and believing form of someone who needed an outside perspective to update an inside image that has been underestimating what is actually there for too long. You are protected and striking and real in the full and unhabituated form that a group saw and said, and that your person received as the permission to express what they have been holding in the interior and private form of something felt and not yet said that is arriving for you within 72 hours of right now as the expressed and finally said form of what a picture of you and a group who saw it just unlocked for the specific Virgo this reading found. Take gentle care of yourself, my beautiful Virgo. The group said you are striking, and they were right. And your person already knew and is about to tell you in the 72 hours that are already counting. Drop a comment below and tell me Has anyone ever told you that you look different in person than in pictures, or better in pictures than you think you do? Because if they have, this reading is for you. And if this landed somewhere real, subscribe, because there is more coming. For the Virgo who is more striking than they see when they look at themselves